Hello, my name is Zach, and this is Magic the Gallery, a channel all about appreciating the beautiful and wonderful art of the Magic the Gathering card game. Today, to complete the colour wheel, I'm going to share my top 5 favourite green cards from Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. Quick disclaimer, art is subjective, and while I am discussing my opinions, you are very much entitled to your own. I would love for you to disagree with my choices and to explain why in the comments. Starting us off at number 5 is Adventureous Impulse, which was illustrated by Victor Adam Minguez. This card shows a tall forest of vividly green trees. Their heights vary greatly, with the shortest tree's canopy being just below the bottom edge of the frame, and the tallest rising high into the distance. In the midground of the composition are 2 companions, perched on top of the vegetation and presumably leaping from one tree to the next. The figures are faced away from the viewers, and they seem to be on a journey or adventure into the distance. A lush, bright green pervades every part of this image, filling the scene with life. The sun can be seen shining down through the tallest canopies, bringing warmth to the card and causing the tops of the trees to have a friendly glow. The adventure in this image appears fun and inviting. These companions are gliding across the top of the forest, with the sun beaming down upon them and their best friend beside them. It really paints a beautiful picture of companionship, for once not focusing on the fighting and battles present throughout the set. Card number 4 is another reprint, Ivy Elemental by Ikoria Voth. This card shows a ravenous elemental, comprised of a mass of vines and plant life, twisted and tangled together. The creature towers over the viewer, who views it from an extremely low camera angle that puts the elemental in a position of power and menace. The creature's vines are reaching towards the viewer, and are wrapped around some crystals off to the right of the frame. It appears to be drawing life or energy from these crystals, with a green glow illuminating it from underneath. In the background, the tops of the trees part to frame the creature's head, and also reveal the moon, which is positioned directly behind it. This creates a strong contrast between the bright glow of the moon and the elemental's dark body. I think the elemental looks pretty epic here, being positioned far above the viewer with its vines coiling down makes it look monstrous and frightening. This is a solid reprint that really embodies the Ikoria Elemental Clade design. For art number 3, I have chosen Humble Naturalist, which is illustrated by Matt Stewart. In this image, a human druid stands in the foreground, surrounded by various Ikorian creatures. The druid has a really kind old man appearance. Their clothes are coloured with natural greens and browns, creating harmony between them and the earthy environment they are in. There are 5 creatures present in the image: a larger beast in the distance, a porcupine behind the human, a lizard perched on their shoulder, a hedgehog-looking creature in a pouch on their armour, and what looks like a cat-bird hybrid is sitting on their wooden staff, grinning sleepily as the druid scratches them lovingly under the chin. You can tell that the human figure cares for these beasts, and that they care for him back. This card is all about an atmosphere of love and affection. This is the aspect of green that cherishes nature and shows that humans don't need to oppose it, but can instead flourish with it. My second favourite green card is Thwart the Enemy by Chris Rallis. A pair of coppercoats are standing off against Luca and Vivian. The coppercoats have their blades drawn and are standing either side of the card's borders. They are dark and out of focus, serving as a frame for the rest of the image. Their weapons angle inwards to separate Luca from Vivian visually, and also to divide the artwork in general, which creates tension. Vivian is standing defensively in front of Luca, with her bow drawn and pointed at the coppercoat on the right. Green energy is surging from the ground beneath her, causing the coppercoats to hesitate and halt their advance. Luca is less aggressive, positioned with his weapon in hand, but a less active pose. The way that the soldiers in the foreground divide the card into different segments is really interesting. It gives our eyes distinct pieces to look at, and by partially blocking the viewer's vision of the scene, creates a sense of unease and is disempowering. This is added to by the tilted frame, which sets everything on an angle to make the viewer feel unbalanced. The immediate presence of the swords leaves little room for doubt regarding the hostility of this encounter. This card excellently creates the tension you would expect for any kind of standoff. My favourite green card in the set is Migration Path by Grzegorz Rutkowski. Migration Path features an awe-inspiring vista from the Savai Triome on Ikoria. Working from front to back, there is a large herd of wildebeest-looking creatures stampeding in a line away from the viewer towards a pass between some mountains. The beasts are moving over some grassy wetlands in the foreground, which further back turn into some green foothills, and then a looming mountain, all with crystals sticking up in various places. At the very back of the composition is a thick bank of clouds, obscuring the sky and framing the top of the card in white. There are plumes of dust being kicked up by the stampede before riding the wind, and it gives the herd a good sense of weight as they thunder along. The light reflections of the water break up the green of the ground to reduce monotony, a task that is met by the crystals in the background. The mountain itself is very impressive, and adds a feeling of endurance and timelessness to the piece. This migration route has persisted for centuries as a safe passage for these beasts, and is breathtaking to witness. These are my top 5 green cards from Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. Let me know what yours are in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification icon to receive notifications on future content. That's all for this video. Stay safe and enjoy your games.